Hi everyone, I'm Kevin Nelson for Catholic Newsbreak. Here's what's happening this week in the news. We begin with news from the Vatican. Pope Benedict XVI has released his message to the Assembly of the International Forum of Catholic Action, which is meeting in Romania from August 22nd through the 26th. In the message, the Pope says that as Catholics prepare to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Second Vatican Council, all church members need to make a renewed effort to ensure lay people are aware of their responsibility for the church and are allowed to exercise it. The assembly is made up of representatives of Catholic action groups from around the world. The International Forum promotes lay involvement in parish and community life, particularly through studying and acting on the principles of Catholic social teaching. Pope Benedict's message, released by the Vatican August 23rd, said the church needs a mature and committed laity able to make its specific contribution to the mission of the church in a way that respects the different roles and ministries of its members. He referenced the Vatican II dogmatic constitution on the church, Lumen Gentium, and how it describes the style of relationships within the church as a family. The Pope said that a family emphasizes shared responsibility, mutual support, and joint action, while at the same time recognizing the special role of guidance belonging to the church's pastors. In news now from around the world, in China, 2 Catholic seminaries will not open their doors for the upcoming school year. It is being seen as a retaliation against the Vatican. Rome Reports has more on this story and the rift between China and Rome.
China's patriotic church, which is at odds with the Vatican, has decided that 2 seminaries in the city of Shanghai will not open their doors in September as was originally planned. Critics believe the move is a form of retaliation after Monsignor Tadeo Maldakin joined forces with Rome instead of the patriotic church. The Bishop of Shanghai reported that because of the current situation, the seminaries will not open in September until further notice. The Catholic Church in China is divided between the patriotic church, which is controlled by the communist government, and the church that remains loyal to the Vatican.
Looking now at news from around the country. Under an historic agreement, Philadelphia's 17 archdiocesan high schools and its 4 schools for special education are officially under new management. Strategic and operational control of the 21 schools will pass to the Faith in the Future Foundation effective September 1st. The historic agreement was signed at a press briefing at St. Hubert High School by Philadelphia Archbishop Charles Chaput and H. Edward Hanway, who will be the temporary CEO of the foundation. St. Hubert High School was one of 4 high schools recommended for closing in the 2011 report of the Blue Ribbon Commission on Catholic Education. It was spared by Archbishop Chaput last February. This agreement is believed to be the first time a diocese has given control of a major part of its schools to an independent and essentially lay board. Archbishop Chaput said it is unlike any agreement that a diocese has achieved with its lay leadership. The Archbishop said the Foundation's commitment to professional excellence in management, guided by a strong and faithful identity, will serve the high schools and schools of special education well. More news from around the world. With the Pope's upcoming visit to Lebanon in mid-September, Catholic News Service takes a look at the effects in this country of the conflict that is going on in neighboring Syria. Catholic News Service spoke with Laura Sheehan, communications officer for Caritas Internationalis, about her time visiting with refugees in the region.
In the first week of August, I went to Lebanon, and then I went to Jordan, and I went to the border areas where a lot of the refugees from Syria are coming. In Lebanon, near the border, it's sort of farming area, and if people haven't found an apartment or are just too poor to afford any building to live in, they've made makeshift tent camps. So they've sewn together pieces of cloth, seed bags, sometimes plastic bags, and they're just all living in these sort of sprawling, dusty camps. One issue there is that I saw is that the tents can catch on fire if they're cooking inside the tent, and your tent is made of a very dry burlap seed bag. It catches on fire. So I actually went to a camp where 5 of these tents had burned down. I saw a man who was badly burned because of it, because he was saving his child. So in Lebanon, that's sort of the worst case scenario. When I was in Lebanon, I met with a doctor who is sort of running a Caritas mobile clinic. So this white van drives up with the Caritas logo, and he comes out, and a nurse. And when I was there, he was just sort of sitting at a table out in the open because there aren't necessarily premises for him. And a lot of refugees were lining up, and he's a pediatrician, and he was seeing the children, checking them. They had upper respiratory infections or other diseases. They sometimes had diseases that you get when you're all crowded into a space, like lice or different kinds of coughs that are very contagious. So these are healthcare issues that come up in refugee populations. The Caritas Network is helping Caritas Jordan and the Caritas Lebanon Migrant Center to help the refugees with basic emergency supplies, at least in this first phase. So we're talking about diapers, boxes of food, like spaghetti, cans of tuna, things like that, blankets, mattresses, just what people need to live until we know what's going to happen next.
And finally in the news, Bishop William J. Denninger of the Diocese of Grand Island, Nebraska, celebrated a Mass of Thanksgiving at St. Mary's Cathedral, marking the 100th anniversary of the 40,000 square mile diocese. It was the first of 4 anniversary Masses to be celebrated around the diocese. Those in attendance at all the Masses received a medallion commemorating the centennial year and bearing the theme, "The New Evangelization, Proclaiming the Good News of Christ." During the Mass at St. Mary's Cathedral, the bishop spoke about the people who settled the diocese, people of Czech, Polish, Irish, German, Bohemian, Scandinavian, and Hispanic heritage, and how they came for a number of reasons, some economic and some related to religious freedom. Bishop Denninger is the 7th bishop to head the diocese since its creation in 1912. In honor of the anniversary, the West Nebraska Register, the diocesan newspaper, has published a history book, 100 Years of Faith, The History of the Diocese of Grand Island. It includes narratives of the beginnings of the Catholic Church in Nebraska, the pioneer priests who blazed the trail of faith, and those who continue to keep it lit. Well, that is all the information we have for you this time. Please stay with Catholic TV for more Catholic news. Until then, I'm Kevin Nelson, and I'll see you next time on Catholic Newsbreak.